Hi and welcome to this data burst, and in this one we are going to be having a look at Fireteams like everybody else has done, but we're going to do it slightly different because we're not going to go through each faction, what you can have in what, and all that kind of stuff. That's boring. We're going to talk about.
They also require us to know what they're about, and we don't know every faction.
Yeah, well, yeah, we know what armies we have. So we're going to go and we're going to discuss how we found using them, how we've kind of adapted to it. And unfortunately, because we're old men, we're always going to forget the new rules anyway and use the old ones. But anyway, we're going to say how we've liked it, what we like or dislike, that kind of stuff. And in this episode, we've got a special guest. We've got Gaz. He's our local Warcor.
Hello.
From Sheffield, the outpost, if you ever want to find him. And as well as that, we've got, as usual, Ogre and Stormshroud heckling in the back.
Excellent. That's a better place for us, I think, isn't it, Storm?
I'm generally best far away, heckling from a distance.
Backseat driving, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so to start off with, for those who haven't played Infinity or you're new to the game, one of you two Warcors would tell us what is meant by a Fireteam.
Excellent.
Okay.
Go on, Gaz.
Paper, rock, scissors for it?
You're a special guest, Gaz, so go on.
I'm the special guest. All right.
Gaz speaks, and then we heckle you, you see. That's the way it works.
Oh, no, that's why you've got me on. Right, so fire teams. If you're playing sectoral armies, then they are a method of bringing your power level up to the same level as the vanilla factions. So a generic faction has the entire range of options within the entire faction that it can take. Sectorals are generally very restricted in terms of what they can take. So, for example, with Combined Army, you can have Morats sectoral, and then you can only have Morats. Fire teams give you bonuses in combat, generally plus one burst, and in some states plus ballistic skill or sixth sense or other such skills like that make you more survivable. But the main thing that they tend to give you is border efficiency. That will be my quick one. You activate multiple models at the same time.
Yeah, definitely handy for getting you across the board quicker with more units. There are downsides, though, aren't there? Yeah. Ogre, you've got the downsides of if you're moving a fire team, I could shoot any of your guys.
Absolutely. So you basically moving your guys around in groups of 2, 3, 4, 5. When somebody reacts to you with an ARO, they can shoot you at any point in that movement. So you have to be careful that you're not moving them all through somewhere where somebody's going to drop a big template on you or something, or can shoot you with snipers and things. You've got to be much more careful. I think it's one of the disadvantages of bigger groups, in that they're harder to move around the board without exposing yourself to fire. Which I actually prefer groups of 3, which I guess is probably something we might discuss later. Are we still on very basic stuff? Are we discussing them?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So there's there's groups of 2. I think we mentioned duos, isn't it? Harris is 3. 4 is just 4 now. There's no weird names for it, I don't think, anymore.
You can still have Enter Marcos teams, and that's limited to 4. But yeah, it's just a core team. It's just core team.
Not called that anymore.
Which Claw is really glad for, because he doesn't have to say the word anymore.
Exactly.
I can't say that word, and I'm not going to. But now they're not called that anymore. It's just a group of 4.
It's just a group of 4 people. Nice. Exactly. Much easier. So are we going to kind of skip what the changes are and just say what they are now?
I think we should cover what they give you now. I think anyone who's played for a while will know what they were before. We should go through what they do now and the difference between a coherent and an incoherent fire team, or whatever, cohesive and incohesive.
Good. I'm glad we're doing that, because that's going to
composition bonus.
It's called the composition bonus.
Yeah.
Makes one time. So I'd identify it as being coherent, or speaking different languages.
Splendid. So I think the idea is, isn't it, that we were saying that moving them all together a bit more, but you also get bonuses for shooting, particularly once you get to 3, 4, or 5. So let's say on your basic fire team that can have wild cards and all sorts of things in it, when you get to 3 people, you get an extra burst on your shooting. That's good, isn't it? So here, just below me, we'll say no. Okay, so 2 people just move together. 3, you get an extra burst. 4, you get 6th sense. So if somebody comes around and tries to shoot you in the back, you get to react.
Which is
and
nice.
I think it's very nice. We always forget that though, don't we? That's so. So it's still there for us. Forget again. And then 5 is +1 to your ballistic skill.
Very
Is that
confusing,
right?
+1.
Because I've been, yes, +1. So this is the first time in Infinity, I think, it's not been a +3 or a -3.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's
is for
messing
me
with my
one of the
brain.
hardest bits, because it kind of really, when you're trying to work out what you need to roll, I'm finding it a bit confusing.
You'd think adding 1 would be really easy.
Yeah,
My brain just wants to add 3 automatically.
absolutely. Very, very confusing. And then sometimes you end up saying, well, a -2. And I'm like, no, hang on a minute.
That's not how Infinity works.
No, exactly. Surely it should be a 3. Maybe that's the Tohar in us, wanting us to use 3s all the time. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's somebody's taken over and removed all the Tohar. But conspiracy theory. There you go.
They're the size bonuses. We should probably talk about the composition.
Oh,
bonus.
sorry, we're going back to the topic. Okay.
I'm going to try and keep us on vaguely near, adjacent to the topic.
So those are for the kind of any type of fire team, isn't it? You get these bonuses.
Yeah, that's the Fireteam size bonus.
And then they've also introduced, so what we're calling it,
Composition bonus.
Thank you. Which is nothing to do with compost in the bottom of the garden.
No.
But it's everything to do with people who are the same, or same types of troops, or
Similar.
count as the same types of troops.
Definitely similar.
Or in Morats, they're a Morat. That appears to be the thing. But yeah, similar types of troops that fit in, and then you get bonuses for that as well. And I believe if we get the charter,
It's
3 members is +3 discover.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that right?
yes.
4 members is +1 ballistic skill,
Yep.
Yeah.
and 5 members is plus an extra ballistic skill.
Correct.
So if you've got
So
5
if you've got 3.
members and they're cohesive, you actually end up with the +3 ballistic skill that you used to have.
Yeah.
How about me? I'm doing all right. I think.
You're doing
Yeah.
fantastically.
Thank you.
I've just been looking at the actual thing. So yeah, you bang on.
That's good.
Bang on.
Thank you. My brain will shut down in a minute, and that'll be it. So, I think the idea is to promote kind of more thematic teams. I think that's the way I've kind of. They want you to take teams that kind of would fight together.
Yeah.
Rather than just teams made up of odds and sods from different places and wild cards and this, that, and the other.
Well, I think with the way they had gone with adding all the wild cards in, you were getting a plethora of fire teams where it was 4 plebs and the guy who was going to do all the work. And they wanted to bring.
To me, that's the big bonus of the new rules is because you ended up with a guy shooting at like ballistic skill 17, 18 all the time, and I think what they've effectively done is bring it down to around 15.
Yeah, so I think the one that springs to mind is the Varuna team that you used to see all the time with the 3 Fusiliers, the Kamau, and the Orc. That was up to silly levels of ballistic skill 17 before you got to range with the Orc with his burst 5 HMG. He's now only ballistic skill 15. It's still a viable fire team. You can still take it. It doesn't change your army, but he's a little easier to deal with. I mean, fractionally easier to deal with.
Yeah, that's basically the ins and outs of it. There was no real major change that we thought. Well, we dreaded a major change, so it's not a massive change to us old guys who've been playing it a long time.
No, it's just a mathematics problem.
Yeah, personally, I think it's a great change. I think it's bringing everything forward. I don't think they could have done it any better, personally. It's nothing major. We all know how they use. They still work the same.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah,
I think it's a really good example of the living rulebook style that they're moving towards. They took the time. These weren't ready when they went straight to N4. They've taken the time. They've got them right, and I think it shows that they've taken the time to play test it and get it right. To me, it feels great. It feels like it's been properly tested and it works. I haven't yet come across anything where my brain's gone, really?
It is. It kind of opens it up, I think, to more ideas and freshens it up. It's not stale. They've churned it around a bit and made people take different things again. And I think that's always good. You don't want to be playing the same thing for a whole year or what have you. They've churned it up a bit, moved it around, and I think that's really nice. It kind of makes you excited again.
Yeah.
What's your thought, guys?
I think, well, I love the new Link Team rules as a general change. I did a little poll in my community as well, and basically the only negative answer I got was someone who was saying that they were just being negative to be negative rather than they had any particular problems with it. But everyone's lapped them up so far. There are a few people who are a bit hesitant who played, for example, Ikari Company, who seemingly got hit by the nerf bat a bit harder than the others. But in general, it's all been extremely positive, and even those people have come around now as well. I like the way that it incentivizes people to take 3-man teams as well these days. 3-man teams are a bit easier to maneuver to get around a board. And now, if you've got the composition bonus, you also get +3 whip on your discover rolls, which is good for dealing with impersonators, camo, and all sorts of other stuff that generally tend to mess around with Link teams. But the main one for me is they've just sort of rebalanced the power level in terms of the composition. So we were talking before about having your 4 mooks powering some superpower dude. Good examples of that will be something like in White Banner, where you've got 4 Zanshi powering, not White Banner, Invincible, where you had 4 Zanshi powering a hideout, and the hideout sniper would sit on top of the tower and shoot everyone, and the Zanshi would all hide. And now you don't get that sort of power link based on that anymore, but they do keep certain examples of it, but it's a bit closer in terms of the power alignment. So in Ariadne, for example, Ariadne lost the ability to have 4 line Kazakhs with a veteran Kazakh and get the full +3. But if you put in with Frontovics instead, who are also reasonably elite mimetism infantry with veteran, then you get the full effects and the full fat fighting bonuses still.
Well, it's a bit more expensive.
Nice. Yeah, obviously a bit more expensive. I think the sort of cut-off that they've gone for with it, looking at it, seems to be if you're BS13 and you've got mimetism. So, for example, in Morats, the only thing that doesn't generally count as being a Morat is the new dude whose name I forget, the Kayaz dude.
Oh, he just wants to show off he's got his models. That's all that was.
He does.
Oh,
he
absolutely. Just got my empty box in the corner. Yeah, so if you look at him, as soon as they released the rules for him, he immediately became the best gunfighter in Morats because he was BS13 and had a visual mod. That's all it was to it, but he doesn't get to claim full link bonuses no matter which link he gets put in.
Right, so all of us, have we all played games now with the new Fireteam rules? Myself and Storm have, obviously, but...
Yeah, I've had 2 or 3 games, I think. Oh.
Okay. Well, I'll just kind of like talk about me for a minute. Well, I played Steel Phalanx and played the old 4-man link team. It's got a special word for it.
Enter Marcos.
Yeah, thank you. I knew one of you would say it. And they're actually better because I had 4 Myrmidons. Well, I had 2 cores because that's how it worked. And so I had 2 lots of Myrmidons. And they were +1 burst bonus. So that was better for those guys.
I think you mean +1 ballistic skill.
Yeah, that's fair. They got +1 burst anyway, but +1 ballistic as well. Thank you. So we were doing the +1 thing, doing his head, and that was kind of like breaking us a little bit because it wasn't the +3 -3. It was like +1 -2, all that kind of stuff. So that was a bit weird, but totally good. And it didn't change the game at all for us. It wasn't very difficult. It wasn't too difficult to understand. It was fine. How did you find it, Ogre?
It was the mathematics that did my head in. I'm going to cough. Hang on a sec. You can edit that out. It was the mathematics that I had a problem with. How about that? Seamless.
Yeah. You do know I'm going to leave that bit in, no?
All right, thanks. Yeah, it was just it was a +1 or a +2, not a +3. That was that was the only problem I had. And it really, all it did was just make me think for another couple of seconds rather than being able to just roll it off.
Do your 3 times thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was fine. I didn't have a problem. I kind of like the way the teams came together. You know, the way it kind of makes you think about doing different combinations. So I've been doing a bit of nomads, and I was doing a link with a gecko in a Harris. So I had a Harris and a couple of guys with it. So that was like quite a lot of funny. You know, it was, and I've never taken that. And you know, so a gecko with an extra burst, Vostok I had as well, and then basically somebody else who just ended up dying very quickly. But there you go. They haven't got big armor. So, but I really enjoyed it. It's been good. I've you know, if anything, it's a plus rather than a minus for me. You know, I've not really had any issues with it at all.
Yes.
Yeah, I've only played one game with the new Link Team rules so far. I took Onyx in that particular game, and instead of taking a big link, I took 2 Harris links. One of them was a Macrep, because that could now go in, a Kurgat with an autocannon, and just Kernow. And that was a great little Harris team for me. It died horribly because I was playing against White Banner, and Shang-Chi apparently are still quite good even in a 5-man Shang-Chi team, even with just +1 burst. Yeah. Who could have said? But the other little Harris team that I took... Yeah, absolutely. The other Harris team that I took, though, was 2 Umbra Samaritans and Samaritan Nokius, which is as hilariously as expensive as it sounds, and really fun to use, but also died horribly. So you've got a lot of versatility in terms of what you can do.
As long as they die horribly.
Yeah. But they will still die horribly, and I should have definitely put 1 Zeodron in that team.
Stormshad, how was your game?
I've used them. When I first got them, I was trying to make sure I was getting that composition bonus. But I don't think it's, if you can get it, it's nice. If you don't have it, it hasn't changed how I build my lists. The one fact is, and I think your Steel Phalanx have benefited, well, everyone's Steel Phalanx, but yours, the one I played against, have benefited greatly. That +1 ballistic skill on the heroes that's leading them, it's coupled with that -6 mimetism, and it's a pain. I forgot how much of a pain they are to deal with at the best of times, but yeah, making them even harder. I wasn't a fan of that. But no, initially I was trying to get the full bonus, get the size bonus and the composition bonus in a fire team. I'm not sure I'm going to be that fussed about getting it. If I get it, it's nice. But if I don't, I'm not bothered.
Cool. So overall, pretty good. Thank you, Cobus Billy.
There you go. Summed it up nicely. Thank you very much. So.
Right. Okay. So, any last words on the subject of fire teams? Anything you want to get off your chest while we've got the forum, while people are listening to us?
People shouldn't do that. That's a dangerous thing to do. They definitely shouldn't be listening to us.
No, definitely not. I think I would just say that use it as an opportunity to try different things that you've not used before. Because there are some really interesting little combinations there. Or just, for me, I got stuff out of my, my bag of models that I've not used for ages. And, I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. My first game with Link Teams, I took 4 models that I would otherwise probably never have used in that particular army. I'd never taken Mark Rep anymore. I definitely wouldn't take a Kurgat because you couldn't take them before, and I definitely wouldn't have taken another 2 Samaritans. I'd have just only ever taken Nokias.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's good. It's made it interesting. I like it.
Okay, and on that, what we'll do is we'll say thank you very much for watching, and post your comments about fire teams below, how you've got on with them and what your thoughts are. We always like to read that kind of stuff. And on that, thanks for watching, and join us in the next one.
Bye. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. It all helps to keep us motivated and raises the profile of our channel and Infinity the Game, bringing it to a wider audience. And don't forget, if you're so inclined, you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.